Where did Lance go?
We are back. Another episode of Rogue Trader. We finally get to leave the starting area. Oof. But how long it takes to get out. Yeah. How's the sound? Now I chose the
I
Eagle.
know how to take risks.
However,
I will lead us to fortune.
part of me kind of wishes I'd taken part of me kind of wishes taken the server schools. Then I can spread buffs around slightly easier.
Miscalculations are for commoners. I don't make mistakes. I make profitable learning experiences.
But we'll see how it goes. I might respec. We will see how things progress. Again, my broken ship that exploded after I killed him. Still annoyed about that. It really, really annoyed me. Oh. Getting some drop frames.
Bandages. And you said you need a bandage? You need bandage?
Oh no. Thanks be to the Emperor, you are alive. Your ladyship, we are most gratified by your return. The crew is full of zeal to carry out any order you may have. Before anything else, I would like to hear an account of what happened in the system. Voxmaster falters. The Voxmaster falters. Lord Captain, we saw a number of ships approaching the sun. Black creations of inhuman make, amalgams of shapes, angles and edges. They surrounded the star and then, my apologies, but I struggled to find words that could describe that terrible sight. The Xenos made the sun vanish from this world, into the void. The interrogator closes his eyes with grimace. Ukari. You see Albert's expression change, as if a shadow has suddenly fallen over him. He rubs his temple wearily. As if we did not have enough troubles on our hands already. The Xenos, enemies of humanity? Hendrik nods. A breed of Audari, the most cruel and devious of their kind. The designs of their ships match the description provided by Voxmaster. Like all Xenos, Drukhari are a blight on the face of the galaxy, but their technologically superior. But their technologically superior is indisputable. They abhor and fear warp sorcery, which is why they rely on creations of their twisted intellect. And many of those creations are capable of things that may seem akin to sorcery to the unenlightened eye. The theft of a sun is one example what they are capable of. Are the Xenos in leagues with Aurora cultists? We can rule out the possibility that Drukhari would never ally themselves with the arch enemy's worshippers. If I had to name one thing that humanity and the Xenos have in common, it would be a shared loathing for warp corruption. Hendricks glances around. The situation calls for immediate action, Kinokon. We can continue this conversation later if you so wish, but right now, he gestures at the deck teeming with turbulent activities. I believe you should assume command. What's the current situation on board? The navigator's sanctum is no longer empty, but the warp engine is still refusing to obey the engineers. Without it, we cannot perform a warp jump. Pascal's voice buzzes anxiously from his box. It may be angry, or perhaps it is lamenting the injuries it has suffered. I will immediately initiate preparations for a prayer service. If the Omnissiah grants me comprehension, I will appease the machine spirit of this vessel. What's happening on the planet now? Augur operators are reporting numerous uprisings and other manifestations of the arch enemy's power at various locations on the planet. They flamed. Based on the frequent fragments of communications picked up by our Vox operators, there is practically no resistance being offered by the governor's forces. Millions of people are converting to blasphemous Final Dawn cult en masse and assembling in prayer circles. Do we have any hope of retaking the planet? I fear that Reichland Minoris is lost. The situation is deteriorating by the minute. We must leave the system as soon as possible. However, there are still people on the planet who have not succumbed to heresy and who are worthy of rescue. Besides a small number of our own shuttles, we also have shuttles salvaged from the starport. The dark eyes of the Sister Battle flashes. We must save as many as we can. This has all happened for a reason. Saint Argenta, whose name I carry with reverence and trepidation, is famed for saving people of a dying world through its power of prayer. The God Emperor himself sent a star from the heavens and lifted the saint and her followers up to the sky, away from corruption and death. We must do as she did, direct all our efforts to saving these people who at this moment look to the heavens for hope of salvation. The life of peasants are of little value. Our prime objective is to save the Holy Relic, the miraculous fusion reactor, and the Electro priests who guard and tend to it. Albert furrows his brow. Every moment we spend in proximity to the dying world, we are putting ourselves at risk. Your life, Lord Captain, is far more valuable than all of Reichland Minoris's. The von Valancius dynasty cannot be allowed to perish, and so Lamentable though it is, we must rule out the idea of any evacuation. Hendrik's eyes, like two deep, dark pools, are resolutely fixed on you. The world is doomed, and its inhabitants along with it. The disappearance of the star was a final nudge towards death. The final of the cult of the Final Dawn's plans. I once witnessed a similar event. A world that had surrendered to the servants of the archenemy permitted corruption to enter too deep. At this moment, millions of people are bowing down before those who promise them salvation. They are willingly giving over their souls to chaos, a sacrifice great enough to bring forth a demon world. Our only hope of stopping this process is to retreat to a safe distance from the planet and conduct targeted bombardment of the Electro Priest Monastery. If we blow up the reactor, thermonuclear reaction will follow. The world's oxygen will evaporate, killing off the entire biosphere. In doing so, this will save millions of souls from a fate worse than death. We will save Reichland Minoris from becoming an outpost for the archenemy. Only death can rescue these people. The Undying One has reached out his hand to this world. It is time for him to reap his harvest. We must not reject his design, let millions of names never reach him, and instead perish in the depths of the Imperium. Death is a mercy, Dominic Kinokon. Whatever fate you choose for this world, I urge you to make haste, Lord Captain. The planet is burning in raging flashes of crimson and purple. I can see it even from orbit. As do I see the storm is already upon us. With every moment that we waste, it grows even more difficult and perilous to steer the ship through the warp's turbulent currents. I'm with the lady on this one. Enough talk, we need to get out of here while we still can. Set an optimal course and carry out an orbital strike on the Electro Priest Monastery. Reichland Minoris was fall. Yes, Lord Captain, I will immediately inform the navigators and the artillery decks of the impending maneuver. Hendrik inclines his head. The right choice, Lord Captain. May the sacred exterminatus cleanse of this veil of corruption. The bridge is in upheaval. The technomat's prayers mix together in a senseless cacophony, while servitors work hastily to remove a hardened crust of sacred unguents from the warp engine components. In the middle of the tumult stands Pascal, with a data slate clutched in his hand, seemingly disconnected from the fury of the activities around him. Magus, why do you not assume control of the Technomats? Surely their contribution will speed things up. It would only be a hindrance. I am searching for a way to rectify the error, Pascal is muttering without taking his eyes off the data. There is a certain anxiousness in the way he moves his mechadendrites. Pascal, this is now your ship and your temple, so start acting like it, you blasted cog. Pascal shoots you a look of fierce pride and says with gravity, "You are right, this is my temple." His vox booms with power. Tech commands, heed my instructions. The mayhem immediately subsides and the crew's actions fall into some indescribable logic. The Omnissiah's servants start working in sync, and the binaric clamour becomes a symphony of reports, which the Magos coordinates with a skillful which the Magos conducts like a skillful conductor.
Oh, he's dead?
Now make this rebellious lump of metal take us out of here. Ladyship, I will not tolerate such disrespectful behaviour towards the machine spirit in my sanctum, no matter how dire the circumstances may be. Prayers of the tech priest surrounding the cogitator almost drown out the sounds of the bustling bridge behind you. Pascal, poring intensely over the data lake, his hand extends to the mechadendrite towards you. Please take your place at the cogitator, Lord Captain. Step up. The huge machine in front of you is lit with dozens of vid screens, hundreds of lumen, blinking lights, and endless rush of symbols and digits on the green background makes your eyes water. A vague sense of alarm shimmers in the depths of your mind. The typical reaction of a layperson when confronted with the magnitude of an omniscient creation. Among the numerous controls you see the mouth of the cyber gargoyle, same as at the gate of the warrant chamber. Pascal's voice becomes imbued with imperious force. Servants of the machine god, heed my command. Acolytes, prepare the incense instrumentation for the litany of machine spirit interpretation. Senior technomats recite the prayer to generate a current data report. Operations will be masked with the campaignological protocol Omniscience Rejoice. I must inform you that for the purpose of safety, complete reassembly of the warp sextant and updating of its datasmith blessings are required. If this is not done, then at launch the volume of regrettable calculational error could result in the destruction of the data crypts. But we do not have 100 hours at our disposal. We must omit this procedure. Pascal looks down at the data slate in his hand. A minor deviation from the right of operation for the sake of appeasing the spirit. What must I do? Place your hand inside the throat of the Cogitator Guardian, the cyber gargoyle which has been assigned to guard the forbidden data crypt. The dynastic blood extraction from your veins will serve as a key to the data core, where the machine spirit dwells. To it we will offer our prayers so that many bypass the protective protocols of defection connections and launch the warp sextant. Pascal's voice grows quieter. The law of the Omniscient knows no exception. So, this ritual, I will remain at your side to placate the wrathful machine spirit. Those who abode you will be intruding. Follow my litanies, Lord Captain, and may we receive his blessings. Place my hand. The metal claw clamps down on your hand, breaking your delicate corporeal sheath and releasing warm red liquid into its gullet. Same moment, an image on the vid screen before you changes. Connecting to 0000.1. Connecting 0000.2. Connecting 0000.3. Access reg 789.0444344. Access ID 8627. NOM OS Operates Act. Gesture at the vidscreen. What does this mean? The sound of your voice, the cogitator servant, whose bronze-bound skeleton is built into the cogitator's housing, shudders. With a screech, its skull rotates towards you and then stops in that position. Benevolent code, a voice receptor. Pascal emits a sequence of binary signals, and then it's silent for several seconds. I hypothesize that the defect is located in the analyzer block. I register a reaction to its signal, but no processed response. A temporary override is permissible. Omegas intensely studies the vidscreen. The shell was created on the forge world unknown to me, initiating standard invocation of the machine spirit. Pascal leans over the adjacent instrumental panel and sets his hand on the controls. At the same time, a quiet stream of machine code begins pouring forth from his box. What should I do now? Lord Captain, I now ask you to address the machine spirit. Speak the following command. By my authority, I revoke the inevitable protocol of the warp engine. The voice receptor will receive the vocal entry. Without your sanction, the machine spirit will not accept the data from the warp sextant. By my authority, I revoke the inevitable protocol of the warp engine. One of the cogitator's vidscreens turns red. Pascal sees this, raises his hand, signaling the rest of the tech priests. Then withdrawing a connector from his sleeve and connecting it to the machine. Servants of the Omnissiah, make now the offering of cleansed data crypt to the machine spirit, so that it may be filled with their true and calibrated data. May the Omnissiah have mercy on our souls. In meek solemnity, the acolytes offer up the cleansed data crypt with a warp engine, one after another, repeating prayers of exaltation after anointing the contracts with sacred ointment. Pascal inherits them in the cogitator's slots, inserts them in the cogitator's slots. Your head begins to spin from the holy censers, foul-smelling clouds of smoke, and from loss of the blood that the cyber gargoyle continues to drink from you. The world swims before your eyes. Let this mechanism awake in renewed purity. Pascal enters the sequence of commands, raises his head, watching the vidscreen. Suddenly he stops dead. No! His fingers fly over the command runes, entering command after command. The mechadendroids, clicking their pincers, pull at one lever after another. The vidscreen fills with strings of symbols, completely incomprehensible to you, but clearly conveying something to Omegas. What is happening? After a few seconds, one of the data crypts mounted on the cogitators begins to emit sparks. A moment later, another data crypt does the same. The next bursts into flames and gives off foul-smelling smoke. Around you, the Omnissiah servants break off their prayers and someone bursts into frantic pleading. Pascal's mournful breaks out. The mass of errors in the warp sextant's calculations is destroying the data repositories. The offering did not appease the ship's spirit. The warp engine cannot be filled with the motive force. We are trapped. A moment later, Magos continues uncertainly. Perhaps an alternative Ryzen protocol will emerge the launch of the auxiliary coil. The tech priest bends over the cogitator, but something in his pose and movements reveal his desperation. All the other vidscreens are filled with more and more strings of symbols. The monitors in front of you blink, and its static image changes. Pascal is too engrossed in his ritual to notice. Magos, a moment, if you will. Pascal turns towards you and flicks, and his flickering visor betraying his anxious state. Your captain eye. He stops short when he sees the vidscreen. Distorted transmissions from the data core, most likely residual cogitators, functions of the built-in server. Omnicide shield us from the machine ghost. He returns to manipulating the cogitator's command room. Machine spirit, can you hear me? The cogitator servant creaks quietly in its joints, a sound that is drowned out by the Biheric hymns and the tapping of command room. Input prompt nom os ping nom os request nom os op rest injury nom os opt rest rescue nom os on the query. Yes. Rescue, yes. Machine spirit, rescue us. Pascal turns to you. Lord Captain, the excess emotion in your command will render it unintelligible to... Pascal's next vocalization goes unsympathized as he sees the vidscreen begin to stabilize one after another. The strings frantically galloping across the screen. Green background are replaced with stable images or regularly updating status reports. Only one monitor remains inexplainably red. Text Priest Vox crackles in shock, but his report is as clipped and cynical as ever. Registering warp sextant activity. Registering data stream stabilizing. Registering 0 data errors found. Report the warp engine is ready for transmission. After a pause, Pascal adds, I am also reporting evidence including a Category 3 miracle fulfilling the criteria. Thou shalt witness the mechanisms that toil in glorification of its function and in defiance of the activation. Lord Captain, Rover here. The crew are almost finished carrying out the orders given earlier, and have just received confirmation from the engine halls. I don't know what you did. The warp engine is raring to go. We're ready to begin translation to the warp, your ladyship. Lord Captain speaking. Give the order to commence translation to the warp. Waiting for you to ascend to the throne. Ascend to the captain's throne, Lord Captain. May the Emperor protect us.
A little portion of it is wait.
The Valancius flagship made its way out of the doomed star system. As the void ships plunged deeper into the Coronis expanse, the rogue trader's subjects bid a formal farewell to the late head of the dynasty, Theodora von Valancius. Having paid their last respects, the crew gathered their strength and braced themselves for whatever was to come next.
Lord Captain, allow me to report that our journey through the warp is coming to its end. Lady Navigator Australia warns me that we have reached a point where we can translate to real space the Bundus system. Lady Navigator and her pilots are awaiting your permission to begin the procedure. The Fudabundus system is home to Footfall, the only Imperium outpost with a functioning wharf in the Coronis expanse. The tech priests are begging you to have mercy on the machines worn down by the warp and allow the servants of the Omnicide to inspect and heal the void ship's wounds. The dock. The prayers and rituals would take some time, which our astropathic choir will use to establish connection with the prime worlds of your protectorate, Largonus, Janus, and Kiva Gamma. Master Izaku Weiss has recovered an invitation previously adrift in Immaterium. The Liege of Footfall has humbly requested an audience with Rogue Trader the Von Valancius dynasty. According to Master Zachary, message was tinted with shades of pleading, I quote, appealing the Liege to anxious to meet as soon as possible. Apparently, the Liege is anxious to meet as soon as possible. Football, the place where filth and sanctions go hand in hand. The Reverend Hieromus Doloroso will most likely expect a visit from me. I imagine he will be interested in talking to you as well, Kinokon. I will be leaving your void ship when we arrive at Footfall, Kinokon. Once that is done, consider the Lord Inquisition's task complete. Relationship. Young Evelyn Winterscale has asked me to convey Averin Winterscale has asked me to convey his gratitude for your hospitality and for saving him from certain death. Not wishing to outstay his welcome, he plans to disembark at Footfall. Lord Evelyn swears he will not forget the debt he owes you. I hereby inform the Rogue Trader that during the comprehensive systems inspections rites, this unit discovered a data cluster within the Captain's cogitator that are concealed from prying eyes by means of personal cipher, a sacrament of algorithmic authorization. Until Kinokon von Valancius has added to the access list and assigned the identifiers Keeper 2, the unit can access the data from the Captain's cogitator, provided she possesses the deciphering key. Detect a hint something assembling curiosity in Pascal's mechanical voice. The Proctor Arthur has asked to inform you that he and his arbiters will be disembarking footfall, so that they might continue their investigation. He also wished to thank you once again for rescuing his squad and send his assurance that the Marshal will hear of the invaluable assistance you provided. How about anything I should know about this leisure football? Vladimir Tukara is a very